everybody. How you doing? Well, that's good. Welcome to the PHLY Flyers Pregame Show presented by Coors Light. Visit CoorsLight.com/PHLY Hockey to get Coors Light delivered or to find a store near you. My name is Bill Matz. I'm your Director of Fun and Games for the evening. Joining me tonight is Philadelphia's #1 hockey beat writer, Charlie O'Connor, and the birthday girl herself. It is Kelly Hinkle. Happy birthday, Hinks. Glad you could be here with us tonight.
Friends. I love you guys.
Part of the reason I wanted to do this is to just mess with you because I know how much you hate attention.
It's going to be 4 hours.
Being
of
a
this, isn't it?
Philadelphia celebrity that you are. You hate the attention.
All right.
But we have some hockey tonight.
Yay.
The Flyers are back after one of their longest stretches without a game in a few weeks.
They had that 4-game stretch. What was it? 2 weeks ago? 4 days off?
Yes.
This week it
would
was
be
3.
Yeah.
But I can tell you that the people in the PHLY Discord were going stir crazy.
It is. You do kind of get into a little bit of a rhythm, and then it's like...
I personally love it.
Yeah.
Give me the days off, please.
I'll always take them, but when it's then Wednesday, Thursday, back-to-back, it's like, come on. I have a schedule in my head. Thursday, we then do a regular show to talk about, but now it's got to be all new stuff tomorrow with it. But listen, hard to complain. Hard to complain because here we are. Flyers, Detroit tonight up in Motown. Should be a good one. We saw them play a couple of crazy games last year. And, of course, 6 days ago, we saw, in a never ordinary season for a never ordinary franchise, Scott Laughton score the first 4-goal game for the Flyers since John LeClair in 2002.
2000
Absolutely ridiculous.
Yes.
But let's start with tonight's lineup, the Flyers lineup. We saw Jordan Hall tweet out yesterday from practice. Charlie gave it the old retweet because he's too good to tweet the lines. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't get them as quickly as Jordan did in this particular practice.
It's not a lot really has changed.
They're sticking with them.
Yeah, they're sticking with, and as they should. We went over, on the other day's show about how well these lines have been producing together, at least in terms of play driving. It's Coots with TK and Farabee, Frost with Misch and Tippett, Cates with Brink and Forster, and Paling with the man of the hour, Scott Laughton, and Garnett Hathaway, York Sanheim, Zamula Ristolainen, Sealer Drysdale, and that is
upsetting.
Where we want to start. Emil Andre remains out, as does Eric Johnson, of course. But it's Zamula in there on the de facto second pair right now. Back-to-back, they've been playing well. If he's back tomorrow, what do we feel? If he's not, tonight, just tonight alone, how do we feel about Zamula and Andre still not?
I don't like it. I mean, Emil Andre has been better than Zamula in just about every measurable and also eyeball way. So, I don't really know what we're doing here. We know what Zamula is. It's Andre's turn to get the development time. Let's get him game so that we can see what he is. If he's back in tomorrow, okay, whatever. If this persists, 3 games is too many games. So if it goes a 4th, it's going to be what are you doing, John? Is this Morgan Frost again? What are we doing here?
But the difference being, Morgan Frost, while you can disagree with the idea of sitting Morgan Frost, it has come at times when it's he's just not playing very well.
Yeah.
Right.
And now it's, we don't have anyone else he has to play. And, as soon as they get another center.
Don't give Tortorella any ideas.
Listen, I'm a little shocked.
We're talking about the coach who went with 5 defensemen rather than play Tony DeAngelo because he decided he was just done with
5.
5 defensemen.
It's not done with Tony DeAngelo.
Listen, I'm not going to be shocked if we see, okay, and based on Jackie Spiegel's lines from warmups, there's no change.
Yeah.
But if Laughton was the 2C tonight, I'd be oh yeah, that makes sense. And honestly, he scores all the time against the Red Wings. Why not try to take advantage?
Yeah, give him 25 minutes. What the hell? Maybe he'll score 8 goals.
He had 9 shots on goal last game, and he got 4th line minutes. It was pretty spectacular.
I will say I am surprised that Andre is still out. I didn't have a major issue, even though I disagree with it. I didn't have a major issue with scratching him 1, even 2 games. Michkov got 2 games. He seems like he's doing okay. The fact that after a 3-day gap between games, he is still out, that surprises me. It surprises me on a number of levels because, number one, I agree with you, Kelly. He's been better than Zamula. I get you want to get Zamula in. I understand that. You're trying to develop him. You think there's still more there. I get it. I don't think you necessarily had to play him 3 straight times in favor of
Sure
Andre.
didn't.
That is my big thing there. There's also the fact that we're not quite there. And as I said on yesterday's show, Zamula's longest stretch out of the lineup was 4 games. So we're only on game 3 for Andre. And they did eventually get Zamula back in too, despite the fact that I feel like, generally speaking, we all can agree his upside is lower than Andre's. So presumably they should care more about the development of Andre over Zamula. And if they got Zamula back in after 4 games, you would think they'll get Andre back in soon enough. However, what I'm getting at here is that there's only so many games a 22-year-old rookie can miss before you say, kid's got to play. And if the coach isn't going to play him, does the GM have to step in and set him down in the minors to get him playing time? The wild part about that is that he doesn't deserve to be in the minors.
No.
Because he's playing better than most of the defensemen on this roster. So if you put yourself into a position where the question comes up of, well, he hasn't played in a week and a half, do we have to send him down in the minors? If that's coming up on a guy whose results have, objectively speaking, been very good, that's a problem. We're not there yet, but we're approaching that point.
And you know how you and I make the Moneyball references all the time. You talk about the GM stepping in. Trade a defenseman. You have too many. And listen, 2 guys could get hurt tonight, and it's like, well, thank God we have dudes who can play. Yeah. But like, if the coach and GM aren't in lockstep,
and I'm not
GM
saying they're
always
not.
No, this is purely hypothetical. And listen, it's a few games out of the lineup. We blow this up because we talk about this team exclusively every single day. If he's back in tomorrow and he plays the whole rest of the year, who cares? We won't remember this in March. But if there is an issue of, we just have too many healthy guys that we want to get in, we'll trade one.
Well, 2 problems with that. Number 1, there is no, because I'm assuming the person you're talking about is one Rasmus Ristolainen. There is no guarantee that if they trade a Ristolainen that Andre would come back in. If Tortorella's got a bug up his ass about this kid, why not put in the other right-handed shooting defenseman Eric Johnson and keep Andre out of the lineup? Like, there's no guarantee that even a trade, because he's got another defenseman that shoots the same way that that Risto does, that they could slide right in. I'm not saying they're going to trade Risto. I'm just saying I don't know if that's the overall solution. The other point, and this goes back to my overall point about, when does this become a problem? I don't think him sitting tonight is a problem. It's annoying because I think he's better than Zamula. I think the team is better when he's on the ice versus Zamula in that second pair left-handed defenseman role. But if you start getting to the point where, okay, they play tonight, they play tomorrow, then they have 2 more games before the mini holiday break. Let's say he sits out all 4. That's only, another 5-6 days, but then suddenly they don't play again until the 28th. And then you're looking at 18 days between starts. You would think at some point you got to get this kid back in just because you don't want to get him to get rusty.
And I looked at the Phantom schedule last show. I was doing it while you were talking, meant to bring it up, forgot. AHL also, little holiday break there. So I was like, maybe before the trip, like before the holiday, you can send it and then bring him back up.
Nope.
No, that's not the case. I have to believe right now he's back in the lineup tomorrow.
I would think either tomorrow or Saturday. But again, John Tortorella is the head coach, and you truly never know with this guy.
Do you think there's something to your hypothesis from yesterday?
I'm not sure. But the reason why I hypothesized it is because it strikes me as weird that he's not back in the lineup tonight. The 2 games I would get, but coming after a 3-day break, it just makes me wonder if Tortorella didn't see what he wanted to see out of his attitude or whatever, and just like, well, I need to make my point more, so you're going to sit out. As I joked about before the show, like the beatings will continue until morale improves, like that kind of idea of, well, you're going to keep being miserable, and you're going to become even more miserable because I'm not going to put you in until you stop being miserable.
Guys should want to not sit.
True.
They should be mad.
They should be mad. I guess it goes beyond that, like what the hell? I don't even know, because we've said so many times, like if Morgan Frost went in and threatened John Tortorella, he probably sits half as many games last year. And like that is, a joke, but also not.
But is it?
I really wonder.
Actually?
Is it more of a sulking? Because we heard.
I could see that.
The one thing.
And again, this is all just theorizing.
It's all theory because they're not going to tell us.
No.
I'm just trying to connect the dots of what we heard about Andre last year. Makes the team, plays in the 4 games. He's in over his head, eventually gets sent down. and eventually becomes the Phantom's best defenseman. But there was a readjustment, bummed out, I got sent down and I should, whatever it is, disappointment that affected his play, at least in the organization's eyes. I suppose I could buy Charlie's theory if that's kind of what happened when he came out for 2 games and it's like, yeah, you're staying out. Like, I wonder.
I would love to even know what it looks like when Emile Andre sulks. Like, he's European. Like, maybe he's just, that's his face.
He's also a very competitive kid.
Yeah.
So
he's probably mad.
The reason why
mad.
I hesitate to believe that that's actually what's going on here is because he does seem like he has a generally speaking good attitude. He's a competitive kid. He's the kind of guy who is going to respond, I think, generally the way Torts wants you to respond, which is I'm ticked off, but I'm not going to, just basically loaf through a couple practices to show you how ticked off I am. Like, I think he knows that isn't Andre's general MO.
Yeah.
That said, when you keep a guy out of the lineup who's been playing well, did his play slip a bit? Sure. I don't think it slipped too much.
No.
When you keep a guy out of the lineup for 3 straight games, including after a 3-day break, these types of things are going to come up, especially because, and I know Tortorella said on Tuesday that, he went back through the tape and he really liked the Minnesota game, thought they played well, their guys scored and our guys didn't. That's more or less what he said. Zamula didn't play that well. He was, at least in part, if not majority, at fault on one of the goals that were scored by Minnesota. They lost the game. This would have been the logical time to bring the other guy back in. And the fact that he didn't, it's just weird.
I think now is a perfect time. Take a little break and tell you about our friends at TrueMark Financial Credit Union. Because we all know how hard it is to win without proper coaching. And if you've got kids, TrueMark has the ultimate playbook for teaching financial responsibility with a free Greenlight account. The Greenlight app is changing the game, helping kids and teens learn how to earn, save, and spend wisely. They can set savings goals, track their spending, and even get an allowance all right there in the Greenlight app. And the really cool part is each kid gets their own debit card so they can make purchases and learn real-world money skills while you stay in control from your phone. So you get peace of mind, and they get the freedom to make smart decisions with their money. It's like coaching your kid through their very own financial game. And for TrueMark Financial members, it's free. With the holidays right around the corner, now is the perfect time to introduce your kids to Greenlight. Get signed up today. Visit TRUMARK.com/Greenlight for more information. And I guess we got to get to Scott Laughton now.
Well, yeah, he's playing against a team that he destroys every time he plays them.
I know that there's no real way to explain it, as we went through, a couple of times last week, Charlie. And you look at the numbers, in his previous 9 or 10 games, he had, I think, 8 or 9 goals. It's like, okay, yeah, he beats them up a little bit. He left absolutely no doubt in the last game. 4 freaking goals. You see, 20 career games, and the first 5 or 6, he had no points, and now he just absolutely freaking dominates this
We got
team.
it up on the screen.
Yeah.
Beginning of his career, first half of his career, the Red Wings were just like any other team.
Yeah. He just didn't really score much. He got a point in 2018. And then starting in 2019, it just really, really takes off. And he has been freaking dominant against this team ever since.
A goal in 7 straight games against them from 2019 through 2023.
Yeah. And
Wow.
that's with the whole 2021 season, they didn't play Detroit at all. It's wow, maybe there's something about the mix of guys. The roster's
picked up right where he left off.
Yeah, he picked up right where he left off, and then finally caps it with last week, December 12th, 2024, 4 freaking goals against one team. We showed the list last week. There's a Yuri Dopita in there, but it's pretty much all franchise legends, a few LeClairs, a Recchi, a Lindros, a Prop, a Barber, and then Scott Laughton.
I mean, franchise legend Scott Laughton, really.
Bill, if you're right and he never gets
honestly,
traded and then signs an extension, maybe by the
not
end he
getting
will be a
traded.
franchise legend.
Listen, I very much feel that that's the way it's going to go. I know I saw some pieces even this week, like coming out of that game, like, look at him raising his trade value. Like, you mean his extension value?
Yeah, man. He's
now,
saying,
listen,
make your peace.
8 years, $16 million.
I'm
No
fine.
move clause. Let's get it done.
Yeah.
And that gets us to our bets segment. This pregame pick segment is brought to you by Bet365. Use code PHLY365 when you sign up. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 or older and physically located in Pennsylvania. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. I told you I would do this last week. I'm a damn fool if I don't.
That's right.
We are going down with the streak. Scott Laughton, anytime goal, plus 450.
Yes.
And it doesn't look like that's much different than what it is usually.
Smash that bet button.
I wondered if enough people would bet Laughton that like someone at like a sports book would go, oh, we got to change this because everyone's betting him tonight. Not the case, at least from what I can tell. He's usually around 450 or 5. So we're going to go with that Scott Laughton. And because it's Kelly's birthday, I didn't give this to Bryn, but I'm betting a michkov goal today.
Yeah.
Plus 260
It's
on
happening.
Maffei Michkov. That's about what he is usually.
Okay.
It's been a few games for Mish.
Yeah, he's due.
Yeah, so why not?
Yeah,
Why
why
not
not?
try to get in on his anytime goal as well? But that's the story tonight. The score
It
story.
makes sense. Yeah.
I like it.
I can
Scott
too.
freaking like how
5 goals, baby. Let's
20
go.
games, 13 goals for a guy who never scores. I don't mean never. He's had a few good scoring
Not very
seasons.
often.
There's the first year with Torts where he's basically like 2 LW. So he and Kevin Hayes put up some decent numbers together. But for the most part, Scott Laughton, not known for his scoring. It was like a whole thing at the beginning of his career. Once he realized he's not going to be a scorer, that's when he became an everyday NHLer.
Yeah.
And against one team, he is the dude he was in the OHL. It's freaking wild, and honestly, good for him.
I'm into it.
Scott Laughton is the heart and soul of this team. You heard all the quotes a week ago. We don't need to reiterate, but good for him, man. You have to be happy for him, no matter your thought about Scott Laughton.
So here's my one concern, Bill, about your bet.
Uh-oh.
Before
The jinx.
before the game, no, it has nothing to do with the jinx because jinxes aren't real. But before
On
the
my
game
birthday,
last
he
week,
says this.
the Scott Laughton against Detroit thing, I feel like it was something that like only Flyers fans and probably the Flyers players knew about. It was probably just something funny, like, you always kill that team, Scotty. Like, isn't that great? Yeah, lots. You're gonna have a big game. It's against the Red Wings. I highly doubt it was a big enough deal that the Red Wings knew. Now they know.
All right.
Like now they are going to go into this game and be like, I don't care if we give up 5 goals. That dude is not getting another one against us. This is ridiculous.
I'm going to be honest with you. That went into my thinking of a Michkov anytime goal.
Okay.
Because if the Detroit Red Wings, and listen, they're horrible, 12, 14, and 4.
They're not horrible.
they're-
They're not good.
They're a
not
sub
good.
500 team
They're
in
not
the
good.
Eastern Conference. They're like ahead of one team in the East, maybe 2. If they are going to like try to deploy a top 4 defensive pair against Ryan Poehling and Garnett Hathaway because Scott Laughton went off last game, dope. We're
Good.
going to win
Yeah,
12-0.
exactly.
But, I mean, we never score, but
Yeah.
you see what I'm saying.
I
We're
know what
going
you're
to
saying.
walk away with this game.
Yeah.
And so that's cool for everybody. It's unlikely he repeats what he did or even comes close to it. But you look at the career numbers. How do you not bet 1 goal?
No, you got
I
to.
mean, he usually scores against
And
them.
it's fun.
And it's really fun.
And if he
in a long season, this is the kind of fun stuff that
exactly. If he finds a way to score a goal, despite the fact that I guarantee you Detroit is going to be gunning for him in this game because they're embarrassed that, like, look, we generally speaking as a fan base, I mean, we do, I think, on the show. And I think as a fan base overall, we like Scott Laughton. He's a likable player. He's a nice enough guy, like a nice enough, middle to bottom of the lineup dude. Detroit's looking at it like, we were letting this nobody score all these goals against us. We're not going to let that happen again.
Not exactly Travis Connect.
Exactly.
Like, not a premier name.
You would think that they're a little bit embarrassed that this guy is scoring like Alex Ovechkin against them over like a 5-year time period.
If I know that the 4 Nations is going to be in Montreal and Boston, say it was going to be in Detroit, did Canada have to take Scott
You
Laughton?
gotta take Scott Laughton.
I love that.
No, but
First
like,
line.
not a premier name. It should be at least on the players' minds. Like, we can't let this guy do this.
Yeah.
The game was
But
so
also,
recent.
like, if it's a fourth,
exactly.
if it's a 4-on-4 matchup, and they're the home team, so they can play the matchups. But we just last show talked about like this isn't just a good 4th line based on like Chris Vandevelde standards. This is a good fourth line.
Yeah, it's good.
I like that matchup. If they deploy somebody else against them, I like the other 3 matchups. So we'll see how that goes. But you had to do it tonight, Scott Laughton. And I just want to close talking about the Detroit Red Wings a little bit, because you look at these standings. This is one of those teams. And listen, it's very difficult to take a step, especially in the Atlantic Division. But in the East, they're ahead of Buffalo and Montreal. A tanking team, and the biggest story because they're losers in the league. Buffalo and Montreal. Yeah. Like, that's what you have for the supposed to take a step Yzer plan. We talked about how weird their roster is last week. I think it was me and Steve. Ridiculous. Like, Larkin, DeBrincat, they had 7 straight top 10 picks at one point. And then, like, Kane, Tarasenko, Andrew Kopp. Like, what is this freaking lineup?
Is Steve Yzerman Detroit's Ron Hextall? I don't know what he's doing.
Except, like, he got the top 10 picks.
Yeah,
he got them, and some of them are good.
Yeah, good, but are any of them superstars?
No.
And they decided
Mason Raymond and Moritz Seider are like the 2 jewels of it. And like, look,
Lucas Raymond, right?
I'd take Lucas Raymond. Well, yeah. In any case, Mason Raymond was the Canuck from years ago. I would take either of those guys on my team.
Absolutely.
They're real solid players. Would I feel good if I'm going into the next 6-7 years expecting them to be my, top of the lineup star level guys? I don't know if I would be.
It's like they decided. Honestly, it is kind of Ron Hextall-ish, like that off season, and he got pressured into it, obviously. Right. It's like, we went out and got JVR. We made a free agent signing. We made the splash. It's time to go. When clearly it was not time to go. And that's kind of seems like what happened with them. Like, we're going to bring in these vets like Tarasenko and Kane and stuff, and they're going to supplement the young guys. And we have prime-aged guys like Dylan Larkin, and it all work out. It's like, you forgot one thing. The michkov of it all.
Yeah.
Like, you don't, if you had that, sure. Yeah. But it just doesn't seem like you do.
No.
And it's just a weird freaking team, man. And it just makes you wonder, like, we were all clamoring, and he was never going anywhere but Detroit. Like, that's obvious. But a few years ago, we would have killed for Steve Yzerman.
Sure.
Like, absolutely. Like, bring him here, pay him whatever, make him say no to the team that, he played his whole career with and everything. Like, see if you can make that work. And now I'm kind of happy we didn't.
There was a time where a lot of fans of other teams would have been excited to get Ron Hextall as their general manager.
That's a fair point.
We saw how that played out.
Do we have any super chats, Brennan? We have just one from Obi-Wan. That's good stuff. It says, "Happy birthday, Kelly."
Thanks, buddy.
Happy birthday, Kelly. Yeah, I'm glad you were able to come in and do this with us on your birthday. It's going to be a lot of fun because tonight isn't just your typical pre and post game, guys. It's a watch along. So you stay right here on the YouTube page. I'll have a new link for you in a few minutes after we wrap. But it's going to be a watch along and then your usual post game after that. So hang out with us all night and celebrate Scott Laughton night, Kelly Hinkle night. It's going to be a great time. And that is all the time we have for you on PHLY Flyers Pregame presented by Coors Light. Visit CoorsLight.com/PHLY Hockey to get Coors Light delivered or find a store near you. Before we wrap up, just a couple of things I got to tell you about. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube. Follow us right here so you see when the watch along goes live and when post game goes live after that. But also, Festivus is coming, Hinkle.
Monday.
Tell us about Festivus.
Monday, Xfinity Live, 6 p.m. It's going to be awesome. I went over there the other day and looked at the new space. They kind of redid things. It's like a little bit more open to the main area than it was before. But it's going to be a lot of fun. We've got some cool giveaways. Going to be doing a raffle to benefit Snyder Youth Hockey Foundation. Food, drinks, pals, hockey. What could be better on a Monday night?
Outstanding.
Literally
and of course,
nothing.
the Friday it was Saturday after Christmas. I'll
Yes.
get the days right eventually
Days are
when it's over. Saturday after Christmas, starting at 4:00, we have a watch party and live show at Heroes in Glen Mills. Come on out for that. It's Michkov v. Cutter for the very first time.
Yeah.
You're not going to want to miss it. $4 Coors Light draft. It's going to be a great time. All right, that'll do it for us. I'm Bill Matz. That's Charlie O'Connor. That's Kelly Hinkle. Until like 4 minutes from now, let's go Flyers.
Go enjoy the next video.
Yeah.
We all silly like the mayor.